Hi everyone. So I'm going to be talking about licensure and the standard agreement or care arrangement for the state of Ohio for advanced practice nurses. So again, this is just for the state of Ohio. So if you are practicing in another state, you will need to find out exactly what is required for both of those. So to start with licensure, so to begin with, we have to apply for a license, not a certification or a certificate or anything from the Board of Nursing. It's actually a license. One thing that's important to note is that you have to have a standing RN license in the state of Ohio prior to even applying for a APRN license. So if you're practicing at the bedside in the state of Ohio, you're fine. Obviously, you have an RN license. But if you're not, you need to have that before even beginning the application process for an APRN license. So one other thing that is included is we need to have documentation that shows that we have been educated to become APRN. So either from your master's or your doctorate program, there needs to be education, documentation of that education. There also needs to be documentation of your of you passing your certification exam. So for mine's my pediatric acute care. So I would need to provide documentation that I passed that certification exam. And the other thing that is important to note is to apply for a licensure in the state of Ohio, you have to have 45 contact hours of advanced pharmacology education. The good thing is that you, for the most part, get this from your master's or your doctorate educational program. So if you have gotten your master's or your doctorate in the last 5 years in the state of Ohio, you should have you should have those 45 contact hours, no problem. So just to note, for you all to know the equivalent, so 3 semester hours is equivalent of 45 contact hours for the advanced pharmacology. So there is that, and that's what is required for applying for a license through the Ohio Board of Nursing. So for the standard agreement or the standard care agreement, what is needed for that is this is basically a written agreement that you have with the physician that you work with. In the state of Ohio, APRNs are required to have this. The only advanced practice nurse that is not required to have this is a CRNA, and they also don't really have prescribing authority, so that's another part that they don't have to have necessarily. So, through this written agreement, it really kind of discusses your role as an APRN in whatever setting you're working in, what your scope of practice will be, what your job duties and what you will kind of perform. So with that every 2 years, this should be reviewed and reapproved. Even if nothing changes in the agreement or the written document or anything, or the doctor or whatever, it still should be reviewed at least every 2 years and reapproved. Just to make sure everyone's still knowing what is expected of them. Some really important aspects of this that should be included should be what is a coverage plan if the podiatrist, the physician, any of the physicians are out on vacation or are sick or whatever, what is the coverage plan? Also, there should be a plan for resolution for disagreement. There will always be disagreements. So how is that going to go, or what does that process look like? Also, reimbursement should be discussed in this and exactly what the APRN will be reimbursed for. And then one of the biggest parts of this should be prescribing. Obviously, CRNAs do not have the right to prescribe, so this won't be applicable to them. But for the rest of the APRNs, it should be gone over exactly what we can prescribe, what kind of meds we can prescribe, when we can prescribe, to whom we can prescribe, because this plays a huge role in our practice. So it should be discussed with the physician that you collaborate with, exactly what your prescribing rights should be. And also, it's very important to note that the Ohio Board of Nursing should be notified of any change in the name or the address, the name of the doctor, an addition of a doctor, a change address of practice, whatever, or any change in the agreement. That should be the Board of Nursing should be notified within 30 days of that change taking effect. So this keeps everyone up to date and everybody on the same page. So, like I said, this is only for Ohio. So, if you're practicing in another state, be sure to check what is exactly required of you. All right. Thank you.